When I was in 8th grade, really ever since I was little, I just really like to eat. And it's not like a big issue. Everybody, likes to eat. My 8th grade year, though, I used to get double ups in lunch all the time. And I can remember this, like, really specifically. I had a boyfriend, first boyfriend, so, I thought I was head over heels in love with him. But it doesn't mean he was the nicest guy. And I'm sitting at the lunch table, I've got my double up on mozzarella sticks. And he kind of looks at me and pokes my stomach and says, "You really don't need those double ups, don't you think? Actually, you could afford to skip a couple meals." And I think he meant it as a joke, and I think his friends knew that because they all kind of laughed, but I took it personally, a lot more personally than any 8th grader should ever take something like that. So, months go by, I start working out a lot, and it's a healthy workout. I'm just running, I'm playing Wii Fit, like the normal stuff. My mom kind of congratulates me, like, "Hey, you look really good, you really care about your health, that's awesome." And it was a healthy thing. It started off really, really healthy. I never thought it would, like, become what it did. Flash forward to freshman year. So I still have this boyfriend, and he's still kind of a negative influence on my life, but I'm in high school now. I get over it. I love my friends. I love who I am. I love that I work out. I love that I'm in, like, sports and, like, really working on myself. It's awesome. And all of a sudden comes another friend of mine, another guy who's a lot nicer than the first one, and I started to have really, like, deep feelings for him. And he told me I would never be his ex, and therefore I could never be with him. Well, unluckily enough for me, when I look up this girl of his, she's tiny, she's so skinny, and she's a vegetarian, and she suddenly became kind of an obsession, everything I wanted to be. And I knew I would do anything to be her. So I started watching my weight a little bit more. I started eating salads, smaller smaller things of fruit, and lunches, sometimes I'd skip them, read in the library, but it wasn't unhealthy, not just yet. I was still in a good place with my weight. It wasn't until sophomore year it got really, really bad, and I became very sick. So, by my sophomore year, I had lost one of my best friends to a really bad brain accident, and she just kind of became brain dead. So I didn't have her anymore. And I lost one more who got expelled from school, and another one to a really unhealthy relationship, and he wouldn't allow her to see me. So I felt like I had no one except for this boyfriend who continued to be a super negative influence in my life. And suddenly I decided all I had was this really nice body, and I decided, if I'm going to be a vegetarian, I might as well just kind of cut out meals in general. So, cutting out meals it's kind of what I did without realizing, like, the impact I was putting on myself. Like, I don't know. I never saw the health side of it. I just knew I personally was shrinking. And suddenly I was 125 pounds, happy, with friends and, a boyfriend who I thought I really, really loved, and all of a sudden I was 102 pounds and sitting in a hospital bed. And that's really terrifying, and, like, just the way I got there was awful, because I can remember skipping breakfast and during lunch, skipping lunch and eating an apple and hide behind a couch in the library. God forbid somebody see me and realize I'm skipping all my lunch periods. I wanted them to think, oh, she's in, academic lab, she has a free period, whatever, anything but, skipping meals. And my mom, she noticed, she knew, but my mom's one of those people who she wasn't going to say anything. She wasn't going to say it out loud. She's in denial too, just as much as I was. And it became, "Hey, have you eaten today?" And I would say things like, "Yeah, I ate my friend Kayla's peanut butter sandwich she didn't have for lunch, And she'd just kind of stare at me and shake her head, and I'd go into the back and I'd run until I threw up. And it was really awful. And, You know, I never became that girl that that boy I really fell for wanted, and I was never good enough for my boyfriend Seth either. And I never regained my friends, and I just got really sick. And I'm sitting in this hospital bed, and you know, I've got an IV in my arm, and I can't stay up during track, and I'm just not okay. And you know, a doctor sits and asks me, "Do you have an eating problem?" And I say no. And my mom, being in denial, says she is a vegetarian though, and they kind of mark it off as that and say, if you do not eat, you are not going to be okay. You will not recover from this. You'll be sickly your whole life. And I never wanted to say I had a problem, but I did. It really wasn't until junior year that I kind of hopped back onto myself and realized, you know, I wanted to be better. I wanted to be a better track runner, and I wanted to look better, and I wanted to feel healthy, and I didn't want to see spots every time I stood up, or like I didn't want to feel exhausted when I got out of bed. I think the most tolling part of the entire experience of like what I went through and put myself through was the fact that I couldn't have a family dinner without having a mental breakdown in the bathroom. And I would have been bulimic, and that would have been 100 times worse, but I could never actually make myself get sick, which is like such a dark thought to have, like hating yourself because you can't make yourself throw up, you know? And it's rough. Nobody should ever feel like that. No kid should ever go through any of that. But I did. I got back on my feet, and I became a really good runner, and I started eating healthy. And yes, I watch my weight, and sometimes I count my calories, and other days I have days where I don't like the way my body looks, but I never again will do that to myself or try to make myself better for someone else. That's not the way it should be. We should all just learn to be confident in how we look and what we're given.